Yandy Smith just destroyed the internet with a live session. No one saw coming, shouting, weeping, and pointing fingers. She accused Erica Mana of the ultimate betrayal, sleeping with her man, Menix. The moment her voice cracked and she cried, "Erica slept with my man." Fans were stopped within seconds. Thousands filled the comments. Hearts plummeted, jaws hit the floor, and then Mendeeces, who was seated silently next, her stood up and moved away. Nid-live, the screen glitched, Yandy yelled louder, and the entire internet flew into a frenzy. Was she telling the truth? Was this simply another love and hip-hop stunt, or had one of the most talked-about relationships on reality TV finally imploded in front of millions? The issue only spiraled from there. Sources allege the live wasn't planned, it wasn't choreographed, it wasn't false, it was wrath. Betrayal and heartbreak all occurring in real time. Yandy didn't hold back, identifying names, dragging receipts, and swore she'd never forgive any of them. Followers are astonished, puzzled, and split. Some feel Yandy's finally speaking her truth. Others believe she's having a breakdown. But one thing's for sure, this is the messiest love and hip-hop drama yet. And it's just beginning. Nobody expected Yandy to go live that night. It wasn't scheduled. There were no teasers, no stories hinting at a breakdown. Nothing, just a sudden ping. And there she was. Face, bare eyes, puffy voice, trembling fans. Quickly realized something was off. It wasn't her typical polished self, no filters, no glam. Just raw emotion radiating through the screen, and then she dropped the bomb. She stared squarely into the camera, took a trembling breath, and delivered the words that would send shockwaves over the internet. "Erica slept with my man." The live chat burst. Hearts started flowing in. Emojis flooded the screen. But no one knew what to type. Was she serious? Was she really stating Erica Mana? The Erica who had just been on a few shows with her had passed that boundary. Yandy didn't wait for reactions. She continuing. Her voice increased, shaking with fury. Hurt and bewilderment, she stated. It started with a sensation she couldn't define. There were looks exchanged, comments made that didn't set good with her. She claimed she pushed it off, not wanting to come off as insecure. "I'm not the jealous kind," she insisted, wiping her nose, "but something in my gut told me this ain't right." People started screen recording, tagging gossip blogs, and distributing the live. Within minutes, the video was already becoming viral before she even mentioned Mendeeces. He was there straight next to her, not uttering a word. Arms folded, looking down his face. Stone-cold Yandy glanced at him, then back at the camera. "You gonna sit there and act like it ain't true?" she inquired. He didn't react. She shook her head, letting out a painful laugh. He replied, "It was a mistake, one night, only one lousy night. But that night ruined everything." Fans watching were in full amazement. No one had seen this coming. Not from them. Not like this. Then came the part that had people. When Yandy claimed she found out after examining his mails, she said she discovered deleted texts that had been backed up to this cloud, and there, in between old images and files, were flirty texts from Erica. She stated, "You taste better than I remember. What the heck am I supposed to do with that?" Yandy yelled. Her voice trembled as she smashed her hand against the couch. Mendeeces finally shifted in his seat, but still didn't speak. The quiet from him was nearly louder than Yandy's allegations. Folks in the comments were demanding he say anything. Others were urging her to lob off. But Yandy was far from done. She described how things had been bizarre ever since that group trip, the one had taped but never aired. Reportedly, the producer erased the clip after too much commotion broke out. Yandy stated that was the vacation that everything changed. She was being real tactile with him. Yandy recalled, "I thought she was just being kind, but now I know." She stated she remembered one night in particular when she went to bed early with a headache. Mendeeces had stayed behind with the rest of the cast, and that's when it happened. She muttered fans were frozen the notion that Erica and Mendeeces had done something behind her back while recording a reality show was already outrageous. But the way she recounted it made it feel all too real. Guys? VCs eventually spoke barely. I told you already. I don't even recall half of that night, he mumbled, still not addressing the camera. Yandy turned abruptly toward him. How handy, she snapped. You don't remember, but she does. She recalls everything, even the position y'all were in. Guy's BCs scratched his forehead, visibly uncomfortable. The comments went wild again. Followers started tagging Erica, demanding a response. Yandy flung tears, claimed she felt embarrassed. I protected you. I defended both of y'all, had been telling me for months, and I answered, nah, not Erica. She's not like that. She's married. She had her own mess to deal with. But guess what? I was wrong. Immediately, Yandy pulled up her phone, trying to pull up screenshots. She fumbled, swiped, then dropped it on the floor. She screamed in rage. Menz got up slightly as if to aid, but she shoved his hand away. Don't touch. Me? She whispered through harsh teeth. And then happened the moment that sealed the internet's fixation with this meltdown. Mendeeces stood up, glanced at her, then at the camera, and without saying a single word, stepped off screen. The door closed. Behind him, with a faint but final thud, Yandy sat there, shocked, her mouth slightly open, her hands shaking. Wow! She gasped. So that's it, you just gotta go away like you didn't accomplish nothing. The live chat went bananas. Thousands of spectators were now watching, some pleading her to end the live. Others urged her to keep going, and she did. Yandy, leaning back, took a long breath and stated, I gave this man everything. I stood by him. When he was locked up, I raised his kids. I fought for our family, and this is how he repays me. With Erica Mina, her voice cracked again. Somebody who ain't even stable in her own life. She hid her face for a bit, then glanced back up, her expression harder. Now. Nah, you'll deserve to discover who these folks actually are. Just then, her phone buzzed a text. She glanced at it, and her whole demeanor altered. Oh, now she want to text me. Yandy hissed, too late for that. The world's going to hear it now. She bent down and grabbed her phone again. This time, determined, she stated she was sorry. She stated she didn't mean for it to happen. Female, you don't trip and fall into somebody else's man. You made a choice. Fans were gobbling up every second of it. It was messy, raw, and full of scandal, the kind of drama that spreads like wildfire over blogs, Reddit forums, and every shave room comment section. And yet it felt like Yandy wasn't even thinking about all that anymore. She was just venting, finally letting out all she had held in for too long. Her voice sank. I let you in my house. Erica, you played with my kids. You smiled in my face, and all the while you were plotting behind my back. She shook her head, wiping her tears. I should have known. I should have known the minute she started calling him bro, all the time. Like we don't know what that false sister act actually implies. Her grief was now turning into wrath, and admirers were hooked to every second she claimed she didn't want to believe it. That for weeks she kept finding excuses, blaming herself, thinking maybe she wasn't affectionate enough. Maybe she was too focused on business, but now she understood the truth, and it was eating her alive while she continued speaking. The sound of a car starting could be heard faintly in the background. Mendeeces was leaving, not just the room, but the house. Yandy hesitated for a second, listening, then laughed bitterly. He running now just as usual, can't face the truth. She sat in silence for a few seconds before replying. I'm not doing anything for sympathy. I'm doing this because I'm weary of defending people who wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire. And just like that, the lift started to spiral further into one of the messiest public blow-ups reality TV fans have ever seen. However, as frightening as part one of her live was, it was merely the beginning. The real turmoil was still to come, because just when spectators thought they had heard it all, Yandy delivered another surprising bomb, one that transformed the entire path of the scandal. Yandy sat there looking into the camera, her face frozen in shock. The comments were still rushing in a jumbled mix of support, shock, and flat-out confusion, but she wasn't reading them anymore. She was somewhere else now, in her own thoughts, sinking further into a whirlwind of betrayal. And then just as the silence began to stretch too long, she whispered something that left everyone stunned. This wasn't the first time the entire force of the lift shifted. Viewers sat up straighter. Jaws dropped and phones across the country started recording again. She leaned forward, elbows on her knees, and shouted it louder this time. This wasn't the first time Mendeeces stepped out on me. It wasn't even the second I've been covering for him for years. Admirers were surprised the couple had always displayed a united front even through prison term custody fights and everything, the tangle that reality hurled at them. But Yandy was now pulling back layers that no one knew existed. She remarked there were other ladies' faceless names she had overlooked for the sake of family, for the purpose of keeping their image intact. I believed if I just remained silent, if I loved him enough, he'd stop. But it just got worse. And now he's playing with women. I truly know, individuals I let into my house. She rose up, pacing now. Her hands were active, her voice louder, filled with wrath. Erica ain't just some random lady, she was my pal. At least, I believed she was. She used to phone me weeping about Safari, about her divorce, about everything, and I listened. I soothed her, and while I was doing that, she was out here scheming how to attack me in the back. She paused, breathing hard. No, you don't come back from that. Immediately, a notification popped up on the screen. It was from Erica. She had gone live to fans rushed into full frenzy mode. So, it was war. Yandy noticed it and scoffed. Oh, now she has something to say. Let me assume she's going to play victim. Talk about how she didn't plan for it to happen. How it was a vulnerable moment, please. Yet, despite her stern comments, it was evident the discomfort was getting to her. Her voice cracked again as she added, I thought we were sisters. What made everything worse was the fact that this wasn't just bothering her. It was affecting the kids. Yandy remarked her oldest had overheard an argument between her and Mendeeces the night before and questioned if they were having a divorce. How? Do you explain this to your children? She asked the camera. How can you tell them that the man you trained them to admire, to look up to, can't even appreciate the woman who held him down through everything? Her voice broke into sobs for a time, but she swiftly wiped her face, trying to restore composure. She said that members in their close circle had been warning her for months, that one of her pals had even tried to tell her about a party where Erica and Mendeeces were getting too close, but she didn't want to believe it. I blocked people off for delivering me the truth. She admitted, I thought they were being messy. Turns out they were attempting to save me. The chat filled with followers offering support, saying things like, you deserve better and you're stronger than this. But Yandy barely looked at the TV anymore. She was too far gone, too deep in her heartbreak to notice anything outside her own sorrow. And then another twist, she picked up her phone again and played a voice memo. The audio wasn't really clear. But you could make out a woman's voice. Erica's voice laughing, saying something about what happens in Miami stays in Miami. Yandy gazed at the camera and stated, you hear that it's her, talking about the same weekend. They said nothing happened. But she didn't know he kept that voicemail. She sent it to him as a prank, and he forgot to erase it. Supporters were stunned. This wasn't just drama anymore. It was turning into full-blown evidence, gathering some. In the comments started calling it cheater court and pushing Yandy to drop more receipts. She wasn't done, not even close. She said that after approaching Mendeeces, he'd acknowledged to more than just the Erica incident. He indicated there were others. He didn't speak names, but I could tell by the expression in his eyes that it's been more than I ever dreamed. She hesitated, then said, how do you sleep next to someone for years and not know who they really are? The leave had now been going for about 30 minutes, but no one was clicking off. This was no longer just knowing, it was emotional catastrophe unfolding in real time. She sat back down, fatigued, now her voice lower but still full of incredulity. I struggled for him. I fought. Judges, attorneys, bloggers, trolls, all to protect. A man who wouldn't even protect me from betrayal, yet he let Erica, the same woman who has humiliated every man she's been with, get that near to him. I can't. She shook her head again, eyes blurry. I can't do this anymore. The live chat was now questioning. Where males he sees had gone. Some suspected he had drove to Aratha's residence. Others claimed he was probably hiding out with his lads trying to figure out how to manipulate the narrative. Yandy read the remarks and answered, "He's gone just like that without a word. Not an apology, nothing." Her voice went chilly. "And Erica girl, don't think this is over. Don't think you're going to play the I'm broken card again. Because this time I had the truth on my side." However, just as Yandy was going to end the live, her phone buzzed again. Chio looked down and her whole face shifted. Her eyes expanded. Her mouth parted slightly. "Oh no, she didn't," she whispered. Then she turned the screen toward the camera and showed a dim from Erica. It read, "I told you to keep your boyfriend in check. Not my fault he wanted anything real." The live explosion folks couldn't believe it. The boldness, the contempt, it was total anarchy now. Yandy read it aloud, her voice trembling. "You think this is a joke?" she shouted. "You think this is funny?" "Messing with my family," she tossed. The phone across the room narrowly missing a lamp. The impact made her cringe, but she didn't care. "You're unwell," she murmured, her voice low and menacing. "You're genuinely sick, and trust me, this ain't over. You want the spotlight, you got it." She stood up again, pacing once more. The mood in the room was explosive with wrath and heartbreak. Folks were live tweeting every phrase, filming every tear, and scrutinizing every pause. This was now the biggest scandal in love in hip-hop history, and it was happening in real time with receipts, wrath, and raw passion. Yandy eventually took a deep breath, stared directly into the lens, and stated, "I need y'all to grasp something. This ain't about clout. This ain't about ideas. This is about respect. And I lost everything of mine attempting to defend a man who ain't never been faithful to me." Her voice sank to a whisper again, but not anymore. Just then the sound of keys jingling was heard at the entrance door. Yandy froze, her face stiffened. Up lips squeezed closely together, she slowly tilted her head toward the sound, and with a calm but forceful voice remarked, "If that's him, he best be ready to explain everything, because now suddenly the whole world is watching." The camera stayed on her, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife, and just like that, the screen went dark for a second. Admirers waited, the comments stalled, and then the live resumed, just in time for the next stunning moment that no one was ready for. The camera adjusted slightly, displaying Yandy approaching the front entrance. Her posture stiffened, shoulders straight, like she was preparing for battle. The keys jingled again, and then the knob moved slowly as the door opened. It was Mendeeces. He stepped inside like he already knew what Storm was waiting for. Him? His eyes quickly latched on the webcam still streaming live for a brief second. There was hesitancy in his step, like he was considering whether to flee or face what was coming. But Yandy wasn't going to give him an option. "You really have the courage to walk in here right now?" she asked, her voice piercing like glass. Mendeeces tried to speak, lifting one hand in a calming gesture, but she stopped him off. "Don't speak a word. Not one word. The whole internet knows what you did, and if you think you're going to walk in here and act like it's business as usual, you've lost your damn mind." He looked worn, drained, like a man who had been lugging a lie too long and eventually felt its weight breaking him. "Yandy," he started, "please, we need to talk, not like this, not with everybody watching." But Yandy just laughed, bitter and loud. "Oh, now you care about who's watching you. Should have thought about that before you degraded me in front of the whole damn globe." He tried to move toward her, but she stepped back, pointing at the camera. "Nah, you going to talk right here? Let the world hear what you gotta say? Let them see the man behind the grin, behind the interviews, behind the phony love men?" DC's looked at the camera, then back at her. He rubbed his face and finally nodded all. "Fine," he said. "You want the truth? Fine." He took a breath. "Yes, I messed up bad, but it wasn't what you think. Erica, she came on to me, she knew we were having troubles she took advantage of." That Yandy rolled her eyes, arms crossed tight. "Don't play the victim, you're a grown dude, you could have gone away." Menz nodded slowly. "You're right, I could have. I didn't, because I was weak and selfish, and I didn't think about the consequences. I simply I felt like you weren't there for me anymore. Yandy's mouth flew open. Excuse me. Her voice broke with disbelief. I wasn't there for you. I gave up everything for you. My peace, my name, my time, and you think you can blame this on me, men. DC's didn't answer. The quiet was deafening. Yandy shook her head and stepped back again. You know what hurts the most? It's not even the cheating. It's the betrayal. The fact that you let someone I trusted into your space. Our space. And you let her laugh at me, taunt me when I was out here defending you to the world. Men. DC's gazed down, his voice barely above a whisper. I know, and I loathe myself for it. He looked back up. I never wanted to hurt you. I believed it was a mistake I could bury, that it would never come out. But now that it has, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. Yandy's eyes filled again. But this time with something deeper than despair. Resentment, you're darn right, you don't. She turned back to the camera. You all hear this? This dude sitting here just admitting to throwing away our marriage for a few moments of attention? And the worst part, he still don't know why it bothers males. DC went forward again, this time more desperate. I get it, I swear I do. I know you don't believe me, but I do. I know I broke you. I separated us. He sought for her hand, but she pulled away me. The air was heavy, with passion that the spectators watching live were fighting to keep up. Comet after comet flashed over the screen, some imploring Yandy to leave him, others appealing with her to try and fix things. But Yandy was already making her choice. I want you out, she said suddenly. Men's blinked. What? Yandy said louder now. I want you out, take your stuff, go wherever you need to go, but you're not staying here, not tonight, not tomorrow, not anymore. Mendeeces stood frozen, like his body had just shut down. He didn't dispute. He didn't beg. He just nodded slowly. If that's what you want, he whispered quietly. I'll go. He walked toward the bedroom to grab his stuff, and Yandy dropped onto the couch. Breathing hard, the camera kept on her, observing every twitch of her fingers, every flicker in her eyes, and suddenly something happened that nobody expected. Her phone rang. She looked down. It was Erica. Again this time, it was a video call, for a time. She just gazed at the screen. Her mouth clenched. Then against her better judgment, she answered. Erica's face filled the screen, smug, composed, as if she hadn't just detonated a bomb inside someone's life. You look tired, she added with a sneer. Yandy's eyes narrowed. You really want to do this right now? Erica leaned closer to the camera. You started this when you put my name out there, so don't be offended when I slap back. Yandy laughed bitterly. Clap back. You think this is a game? You shattered the family. Erica shrugged. If your man was genuinely happy at home, nothing I said or done would have mattered. Blame him, not me. Yandy gritted her teeth. Well, trust me, I blame both of y'all. But Hugh, you know exactly what you were doing, and you going to pay for it. Erica rolled her eyes. Please, you think you're the first woman to get cheated on. Grow up. The call stopped abruptly as Yandy hummed up, her hands shaking. She turned back to the camera. This woman obviously thinks she's untouchable, but I promise you she's not in the background. Mendeeces returned with a little duffel bag. His eyes were red, but he didn't cry. He remained at the door. Silence waiting. Yandy didn't glance at him as she whispered, Don't come back without a damn miracle. Mendes opened the door, paused, then departed without another word. The door clicked shut behind him, and with it something inside Yandy also shuddered. She sat in stillness for a minute, the weight of everything tumbling down. Then she said again, her voice flat yet forceful, I'm done supporting people who wouldn't cross the street to protect me. She terminated the live, but the internet wasn't done. Footage were already circulating, memes, reactions, breakdown videos. It all exploded within minutes. Team Yandy. Team Mendes. Team Erica. It was everywhere, but behind all the bustle, all the viewpoints, was a woman sitting alone, staring at the walls of the house that suddenly felt odd. She thought back to the beginning, to the love letters from prison, to the family images, the pledges, the public allegiance. How did it all turn into this? How did something so solid rot from the inside? Her phone buzz again. Not from Erica, not from Mendeeces, but from her lawyer. She glanced at the screen. Then took it up and just answered, "Let's talk options." And just like that, the next chapter in the story had begun, one that no one was prepared for. Not even Yandy herself the next morning arrived slowly, like time itself was dragging its feet through the disaster that had unfurled the night. Before sunshine flooded through the half-closed shutters, landing on the same couch where Yandy had cried herself to sleep, the silence in the home was deep, interrupted only by the occasional ping of notifications from her phone. Every media outlet had picked up the story. Every gossip page was replaying the live, and every individual with an opinion was typing it in the comments. But Yandy, she wasn't reading any of it. Not yet. She glided like a ghost through the house, brushing her teeth, cleaning her face, preparing coffee.